The Convert Warehouse HTML to Spreadsheet template is for HGSI users, and you can find it under the HGSI Woodward and Brown category. And look in there for Convert Warehouse HTML. And if you're an HGSI user, you know that you have something called the warehouse, which when you update your data every day, you get a view, which is essentially a view containing many fields. And there's a view that's been put together in here by Ron Brown. If you open up your quick pick warehouse view and you go to warehouse views, Ian Woodward and Ron Brown, 01 top-down analysis, and then 09 archive view, it's a view that Ron has put together which contains many of the fields that are in the database and puts them all into the warehouse. And all you have to do then, if you want to save that, to keep an archive of that information, is go to the File menu and then say Save as HTML, and you can choose a location to save that to. If you choose the same location every day, then it's okay and it's easy to find in that case. So I'm going to choose a location called allsecurities.htm, and I've created a folder underneath my EdgeRater folder. I created a subfolder called HGSI, and then I created a subfolder beneath that called Warehouse Exports, just so that I have a place that I can store that file in every day. So I'll hit save, I'll replace it because it's new. And that's all you need to do from the HGSI side. What that's done is it's created on your file system an HTM file. And as you know, an HTM file is essentially what you use on the internet. So you could open this up in Internet Explorer, or you could open it up in Firefox or any of your well-known browsers or any your favorite browser. And you'd be able to see that information. Now the problem is it takes a long time to load up because the file is fairly big, and these browsers are not that great at opening up huge files that contain huge tables like this. But when you do open it up, you can see that all of the information is in here, and it's all formatted and it's all in a grid-like system. So you have that information. If you save that every day, you essentially have a view of the warehouse for every day. But in the HTML file, it's not that useful. You can view it, but you can't really do too much else with it. And so the idea behind converting that file into a spreadsheet is that you can then open it up in Microsoft Excel, or you may just want to open it in EdgeRater and do all of the analysis on that file within EdgeRater. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So convert warehouse HTML to spreadsheet. I choose the location of the file that I saved. So it was under my HGSI warehouse exports allsecurities.htm, so I can select that. And then I can just hit the run button, and it will take the file, the HTML file, and process it and give you this result, which is essentially converting all of that information into a spreadsheet format. So you can see that all of the fields are here. I can scroll this over to the right and see all of the information, but it's much more useful in this format because the conversion process has automatically added these filter headers too. So for instance, if you wanted to see which stocks were in a particular industry group, you can select the industry group from here. So say I want to see all banking groups, I can just select that, and automatically you just have the banking groups in here. So that's one use for it within EdgeRater, but there are many uses for it. By doing that conversion, what we've actually ended up doing is automatically created on your file system under HGSI Warehouse Archive a file. That's the file that was being viewed within EdgeRater. You could also open this up in Microsoft Excel if you have Excel on your computer. If you do that, it comes up in much the same way as it did within EdgeRater and shows you all of the fields with all of the values, but you can't really do as much with it in Excel as you can within EdgeRater. So anyway, you do have the option of opening it in Excel. It's just purely an XLSX file, which is a spreadsheet file. Okay, so that's how to use the template to generate that file. Now, if you do this every day, you're going to end up with a series of archived warehouse files, and the conversion process has actually put the date of the file as the first part of the file. And this is so that when you come back in at some point in the future, you may want to, for instance, look at how the warehouse looked on February the 28th. And if you've been saving those warehouse files on a daily basis, you'll have that, and you'll easily be able to see the date of the correct date and find the right warehouse file. Now, the date that it's given to the name here is the date of the last data in the file, not the date that you created the file. The date that I've created this file is October 31st. You can see that that's my date modified, but the file has been given a name of October the 30th. And if I open this up again, I can see it in EdgeRater. We look at the last date field, it's the 30th. Because it's now within EdgeRater and you're looking at it in the EdgeRater view, you can do things like standard EdgeRater operations, double click to see a chart. So you can see a chart of the symbols. You can quickly scroll through the symbols in the report. You could, for instance, one thing that is often talked about is the HGSI boxes. So if you do your Control F and find the HGS boxes field, and that's over here, HGS boxes, maybe I just want to look at box 7 stocks. So I select the filter, I'll choose box 7, click OK. Then everything in here is now a box 7 stock, and then I'm able to bring back the charts over here and just scroll through all of these stocks, and now I know that I'm just looking at box 7 stocks. So one of the things you can do. Now imagine if you have this been saving on a daily basis, you can then go back and load a previous one. So how do you load a previous one? Let me show you that. So in the menu, you'll see there's File Open. I can select that, and then I can select, I've been saving these for a couple of days, so I'll select the one from October the 28th, open that. In just a couple of seconds it will open up, and I now have the file for the 28th. And if I maybe do the same thing again and look for HGS boxes in here, so I want to choose the right field, and then just look for box 7 stocks, so box 7 on October 28th. Bring up my chart again, and now as I'm viewing this, if I also turn on the annotations, you'll see now where the yellow highlight bar is, it's pointing to the 28th, because that's the date that this file was created, and all of the fields that are in this file were valid on that date. So it's highlighting for you the appropriate date. Quite a useful feature. And there'll be many more things you can do with this, because you can do all sorts of testing. If you go back to a particular date and load a file from a particular date, you can then filter the list, for instance, by box 7s, or you might filter it by the ERG and look for ERGs that are above a certain amount and below a certain amount. And then you'll be able to run tests on those and actually see the charts as well for how they've performed since that date. So it's a very handy thing to do. I would recommend running this every day. Once you've updated your HGSI data, just go into EdgeRater and do that conversion into the spreadsheet format. So that's it for this video. There are a couple of other videos on new features within the category within EdgeRater for HGSI users. And one of the interesting things you can also do is generate 10-year industry group indexes directly from the saved warehouse file. So check out the video on that as well. Thanks for watching.